What the heck, Kohei? Are you Gordon Ramsay now? What is it like? Sakura, I want you to pack up your stuff and get out of here. But what did I do? Pack up your stuff and get out of here. Because you're making your own group, but you're still gonna be here. It's like I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, it's a cliffhanger. I mean, of course, it's a cliffhanger. Episode 4 left off with Kohei telling Sakura, you have to leave the group, and come to find out, and I kind of acknowledged this in the last episode, or the last recording. It's like, technically they're in the opening scene of the entire series. It was just a question of like, is this going to be him pushing her out so that he can force the group to band together and form unity? Or is it going to be a thing of, I don't know. But yeah, it was a cliffhanger to basically say, yeah, Sakura, you're leaving this group because you're going to have Chisa and Shizuku join you along with these other two to make your own group. And that was his decision in the end, was that, yeah, that was a big question of, does Kotono a better leader or is Sakura a better leader? So let's just make them form their own groups and thrive in their own unique ways, because he's obviously seen that they both would lead and blossom better separate rather than one or the other being a leader. And so, yeah, like I said, Sakura along with Chisa and Shizuku, and then they threw in Rei, who they've of course seen before, as Mei was watching her dance, and then this apparently veteran of the Hoshimi Productions, was it Hoshimi Productions? Yeah, Hoshimi Productions was Haruka, who was like 20 years old, had joined their group. I like how they form out like, yeah, 20 years old is old. That's way old. She's like a granny at this point. Why would she join a group? But that is just how it is. And of course, like I said, then Kotono's got Mei, who just joined them, along with Saki, Nagisa, and Suzu, which I think was a cool turn to take this and turn into different groups, because like I've mentioned before, I think 10 is way too many for a single group. But of course, eventually it's going to have them all join together for some kind of stage later on, because like I said, they've shown that in the intro for it. But yeah, past that kind of fake out that they did so far in the last 2 episodes, I've watched 5 and 6. They had pretty much how Rei is coming into the picture with this group, which they called Sunny Peace. Ray's in Sunny Peace, and she's kind of pushing people to learn dancing quicker and get better, and she's kind of become very dominant in the group, even though Chisa, who is only there with her sister, she's kind of having issues with not being with her sister and not having confidence by herself. So that kind of was, helping that situation, trying to remedy that situation in the end. Got to learn that Rei works a part-time job in order to pay for herself because her family doesn't accept her dancing. And then they went off. Both groups went and did their debut, which was great. I loved seeing them actually go and finally have their debut and get out there as their own groups. Of course, again, like I said, that's Moon Tempest and Sunny Peace separate, which it's kind of weird at this point, because you'd think that they would have to be a single group in order to climb up the Venus Project, or whatever that is, the AI rating system that they use. But I'm guessing at some point they're going to get the okay to be able to combine them and go together. The two performances were great. I thought they are using CGI for the performances, which at first glance does give me pause, but I think the style of CGI and work they put into it blends very well. I think the character models themselves in CGI looked great. I typically, when they convert their anime model into a CGI render, often they lose like what the characteristics in their hair and everything that kind of make them who they are. It looks different, and they managed to make it look like their characters, and so it blended very well. Now, I will say the Moon Tempest performance was a little bit more hard to get over that, just because they did like a very dark lit stage setting, and the shading and everything, you can start seeing that CGI. But overall, both of them looked really good, especially, like I said, the Sunny Piece, well lit, looked really fantastic. So good on them on their choice of the animation style, and blending the two of them, throwing in some 2D animation when it's more close up. It looked very good. And I mean, the animation when they were close up and hand drawn was was phenomenal. The songs were good as well. Really did enjoy them. And I think the other cool thing during that performance is we got to learn why Kohei is still doing this. Because obviously he got drugged into it by Mana, and Mana, of course, passed away. And so the question is why is he still doing what he's doing? And he revealed in talking to Mana during the performance that this is what's happening right now is what drove him to do it again. That experience of there's all this stress of setting everything up. There's a stress of putting everything together and making sure everything's in place. And then that moment that they hit the stage, that is what it's all about in the end. That moment. And he was trying to recapture that moment. And I thought that was really, really, really cool to get that final insight into Kohei and what he sees. Again, similar to what I've kind of mentioned before, they seemingly avoiding Mana. They aren't really making, and this is again the whole aspect of like why it questions why they brought Mana in to begin with, and especially questions why they decided to have Mei be able to see Mana. Is at first it was going to be a question of, is it going to be Mana's in Kohei's mind only, and she's not really a ghost? And then it could just be a way of getting him to have these inner monologues and inner dialogue about his decisions and why he's choosing what he's choosing, and obviously his inability to let go of the past. But the moment that they brought Mei into the picture and made her an actual ghost, that's when it starts to get in the realm of like, okay, so she's there for a reason. What is she going to contribute? And we haven't had Mei talk to Mana in those last 2 episodes. I mean, the only real conversation we had, and it was a moment where, like, when Kohei had the conversation with Mana during the debut, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, Mana's here. I totally forgot that she was in the picture. It does make me beg, is this going to be a lost cause? Is this going to be a wasted opportunity? Is this going to be one of those cases where it could have been without it, and it would have been the same show, and thus be basically a wasted effort? And that's really the feeling I'm getting. After these last 2 episodes, a lot of my hope in the series is kind of starting to dwindle a little bit. I think the only thing that remedied it a little bit was at the moment of the performances were great. And you have that really a strong feeling of these girls finally accomplishing it. They had these really great quick shots of each of the girls after each performance, and that exhaustion they have, and that happiness that they've gotten through it. And I really did feel that in that scene. But especially the moment that Moon Tempest finished their performance and all the other girls looked at Kotono, and they've again kind of acknowledged they've done it. They've finished this performance. This is their first debut. And then it cut to Mana floating over the stage and her happiness for her sister. And it hit me. I had that feeling of like emotion hit me, that this is her sister, seeing her sister succeed. Like she's looking upon her sister who's succeeding at what she wanted her to succeed at. And her sister will go further from that point. And that was a really, and it didn't say anything. There was no dialogue or anything. It was just that shot of her looking down on her sister was enough that it was emotional. And that was something that's technically something they've been building up for over the last 6 episodes, was this scene. And then we're obviously going to take that and go further. In the later episodes, we're obviously probably going to have Kotono hopefully succeed further, and then her sister can see her sister reach that stage that she was aiming for. Outside of that, like I said, besides kind of the battling that was happening internally with Sunny Peace, with Ray teaching them how to dance and being a little bit overpowering for them, and how Chisei was struggling to keep up and having her doubts, Kotono and Sakura kind of came together for a brief moment to kind of see if they can help, or well, at least Sakura seeing if Kotono can help her with her situation with them. The only other thing they had other than that was having a little bit quick glimpse into Trinity Ale, and they just finished a performance, got a great ranking, and then went behind stage into the hallways, and there was their manager talking to Shinji of Hoshimi Productions about these 2 groups, Moon Tempest and Sunny Peace, eventually going into the competition. And it seemed like one of the girls from Trinity Ale was telling the manager, what do you think of our performance? You didn't say anything. And and we're gonna go further than Mana did. And he quickly shut her down, like, no, nobody's gonna reach what Mana reached. And so I'm curious to find out if they're gonna eventually get into some kind of backstory about what does Trinity Ale's manager have to do with Mana? Was he involved with her? Was he a part of Hoshimi Productions at the time? Was he at some point after seeing Mana perform was trying to reach that same level that she was at and could never make it, and so now he's bitter? So that's kind of a little bit of a seed they threw in there somewhere, and kind of is alluding to something possibly in the future for storytelling. But that's about it. I mean, that's the three story beats: the Bu, the Trinity Ale manager, and the conflict within Sunny Peace. That was pretty much the three story beats in the last two episodes, and they're good moments. But I am curious if we're not going to see anything as powerful as, say, Mana looking down on her sister and her performance. I just have some pause to my hopes of this series being like a straight knockout. But again, it's in the middle of the season. It could get better. We'll see. But it does feel like a little bit of a lulling point in the season so far. But like I said, I'm still keeping up with it. I'm still loving it. And I am looking forward to the next episode. Hopefully they don't Gordon Ramsay me again. But we'll see. But I hope you guys like my impressions of the 5th and 6th episode of Idoly Pride. As always, if you enjoy this episode, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and I thank you all for watching, and you all take care.